Hey guys, so Diablo 4 has its quarterly update for September 2020. You guys will have to forgive me. I am sitting to the side. I have my foot up. I had hurt or sprained, I think, my right foot because I can't bend the foot. So basically, I can add a little pressure to it, but I can't put massive pressure on it. So we are taking things easy. As I've told you guys in the discussion area of my YouTube, I talked a little bit about it on Twitter, and I even wrote something about it on my Discord. There we go. Yes, I have a Discord. It's not as used as like my Twitter or YouTube, but you know there is a Discord, and I do have people in it, so I'm just letting them know as well. But I won't know until Friday what I did to exactly. So I can game a little bit, but I can't just like sit for hours on end. It doesn't work with the legs. So yeah, fun times. But we are still going to get content out there because I am not broken. So I'm gung ho on doing this. So anyways, we're gonna take this into sections and stuff, and we'll just break things down. But this first top part is basically that the developers have gotten a little bit farther, their testing teams have gotten a little farther, they're excited to announce what they've come up with, and they still want us to continue giving feedback and support. And feedback is definitely important, especially to make sure that the game comes out well. Especially since we're all looking forward to Diablo 4, so like contribute, let them know what you think, because you never know. Sometimes they do listen, and sometimes they do fix and or change things, and sometimes they take into consideration why certain things may be bad, like why doing, I don't know, for example, why having a point skill tree system might be bad. You know, they're probably not going to take out a skill tree, but but you know, just for example, or why the color blue is bad in this area, or why there's too much shading over here that you can't see the monsters, whatever. You know, examples, just examples. But anyways, you know, if you at least put your thoughts out there, they can see what the community's thinking as a whole, and that's something for them to go off of, which is better than nothing at all. Okay, guys. So the main thing they're going to talk about here is skills and talents, and this first part is ancestral, demonic, angelic powers. Which, in general, this whole paragraph is just saying that they had come up with an idea that seemed pretty neat, but it had a lot of stat keeping and tedious little things, and carrying around a lot of gear and comparing and judging and whatnot. And it felt, I guess, to their team or whatnot, it felt like it was a little bit more statsy slash, as they put it on here, I guess bookkeeping, than they want to get into. And some people really like that. Some people like that tedious like stat thing, and other people just want like general stats that they can compare real quick and then just be on their way to the game. And I'm kind of half and half. I like stats, but I don't want like I don't want 90% of my time soaked up in stats. I'd rather have 90% of my time playing the game and then like 10% of it thinking about stats, you know. I'm not that like that hyped on and comparing things. And I especially like it when I can see the stats right away too. That's another thing that helps me than me going, okay, this minus this times this, or this percentage is more than this percentage, which will lead to this if this happens, you know. Or then past that, thinking about what happens on a blue moon, you know. I'm not that particular. Like it's really weird. I get along well enough for what I do, but I don't get into the I get into a little tedious. I don't like major tedious. And then let's see here, legendary items. We're exploring some big changes in the space for two reasons. Okay. So, first of all, we agree the feedback the character's power is currently too dependent on items. We plan to put more of the player's power back into the character. Okay, so they want to put the power back into the builds and not so much into the items. I can understand that, because if you're going to truly go down this idea of having a skill tree and stuff, most people want to see then that the skill tree is what impacts the game, not so much what your gear is. Although I've always kind of had this weird thing that gear is just part of the equation, so I guess it's kind of one of those weird things. But if it is taking up that much and seeming like, you know, who cares about the skill tree, because if you don't have this chest piece, it doesn't matter anyways. You aren't going to get to, you know, destination X. So that might be a downer, which is what it seems like they're saying here. We also had very mixed team feedback regarding core itemization. We are currently looking at how to best differentiate our various item qualities. For example, should magic quality items have a higher effect stat than rare items? So that's something you guys can put your input in on. You know, give them some feedback on what, like, there they asked a question, so you know, you could always give your feedback on what you think there. For me, itemization, it does kind of matter, because, but it also depends on how much gear is going to be like, how much gear is going to be part of the game. Like, is it a big part, a little part, some part? No, because then you know, the availability of being able to find these things is going to matter. And then finding specific things too, because if you have too many like little stats, I guess that can get kind of annoying too, especially if you're just looking for one specific stat. So hopefully they'll be able to rein that in and figure out which direction, but it's something for you guys to think about. A new skill system. Let's see. New skill system. As Chris mentioned, we have some major changes to Diablo 4 skill and talent system. We've been reading through a lot of comments in the community and agree that the talent system needs more depth. Similarity skill system progression felt too simple, which created issues where players would have no meaningful reason to spend their skill points. With valuable feedback in mind, we have been iterating on the skill system. So down here at the bottom, this is not the final. So okay guys, no, not final. They even have it on the print, but this is what your skill system tree would look like. And it says the upper sections is where you'll be spending the skill points you earn by leveling up. Here you can unlock brand new skills, unlock additional functionality for these skills, and unlock passive points that you can spend on the lower passive section of the tree. So up here is major, up here is passive. So, or down here is passive. So this is kind of neat. I like how they they made a skill tree an actual tree. That's kind of funny, kind of cute. Seems to fit into this whole Diablo 4 world. But you know, I don't know. I don't really have anything to say. As long as it's kind of easy to figure out the tree. You don't want it too simple, like they said, or that gets to be an amen. And you don't want it too complex though, or it gets to be confusing. And you can see like large trees, like anybody that plays Path of It. I mean, skill picking is kind of pretty specific. Like, it's easy to path your way around, but there's a lot of ways to go in Path of Exile, like almost too many for me. And it might be that I'm just used to Blizzard, and Blizzard has beat me down into like, we will tell you what to do, so don't think freely. And so when I got to Path, I'm like, so much, too much. Where this looks like there's just enough, like, it's it, there's just enough. I wouldn't say it's even confusing. It looks like it's pretty straightforward on what you can do or choose or which path to go down. So I mean that, and it looks like there's a lot of choices too. Although we'll see, because we say there's a lot of choices, and then sometimes it comes down to there shall be only one choice. So we'll see how that all goes. And they're showing you the difference here, like major destruction, so where you can spend your points. So you can spend your points on square nods to unlock active skills for your character. And so you would on one of these, and it looks like it would activate the skill. As you explore the branches of the tree, you will find passive points, which is kind of cool because they're like little markers. You can this or this going down the specific route or route. The skill tree you see above consists of many specific nods, for example, or nods, a sample of which you can see a screenshot above. If we imagine every single nod on a massive skill tree affecting different skills in different ways, the path that you decide to take will determine big power increase and playstyle choices. The passive part of the system is where you find the more general updates to your character. These effects are not specific to particular skills, therefore the tree will have a good mix of all types of different choices for the player to make, which is good because like people like choices. We like being able to figure out what we want to do. We other than me, who's okay with being kind of semi-told what to do, I still like to explore too. Even if it doesn't work out, I'll still explore. So, I mean, you know, it's nice to be told every once in a while which way to go, but sometimes you just like that little bit of freedom to go, hey, maybe I can go down this route and come up with something very cool. And it would still work out. I would still be able to play the game. You know, you might have to change it for endgame, maybe, but at least for the general part, you could see how it would work out and still get fairly far with it. Where like Diablo 3, you can try stuff out, but like by Paragon 80-90, it pretty much womps you if the build is really bad. Like if it's not something that would work out at all. So you don't even get to see like high end, not even high end. I guess I'd call it like early high, you know, stuff. You just see like, hey, 70 out of the gate, and oh hey, this doesn't work. One last thing we want to point out to players: will not be able to acquire every skill in the tree knot. We're currently aiming for 30 to 40% of all knots built for endgame, so the players can have a very distinct and very different way to build your characters, which is very cool. Being able to see how people are a little bit different from each other, and like I said, and still be able to get to even end game, that's kind of neat, you know. Where a lot of our other games, and not just Diablo 3, there's a lot of other games too like this, there's no distinction because there's only one way to play it, or there's only one way to take the character, or maybe two ways to take the character, but that's it. Like you can't win on like all three builds or whatever. It's just, so then people's creativity is kind of killed. So this is kind of neat that they're really trying to think about how we can be more creative and show them, hey, you know, we want to see different things at the end. We want to see what other people come up with, and we want to see it actually work. Okay. Oh, we have a next section here. Okay guys, so we're up to where it's a sorcerer's enchantment system. Many of you might remember the barbarian's unique ancestral system. Their ability to carry and smoothly swap between multiple deadly weapons, which greatly increased their powers. We've also been exploring unique class mechanics for other classes. The main goal for us here is to have a very unique class-specific mechanic in Diablo 4. We have this goal because Diablo is the kind of game where many players want to try out different builds or classes, especially during seasonal play. We believe that unique class mechanics and very different strengths and playstyles compared to other classes will make exploring the different classes and playing the game much more fun. I agree. If there's an easy way to be able to explore and try out different things without having to build a whole new character, that would be awesome. Because there is sometimes, like on my Demon Hunter and stuff, I want to go, yeah, I'd like to go down this tree, but now I have all my gear here. Now, next question, did I collect all the gear for another set? I would like to do. And then you go past there and you go, okay, do I want to reset these skills? Do I want to tinker with it now? And then sometimes it comes out to be that I end up building a whole new character just because I don't want to change all that stuff over. Yes, my laziness, but it's like, I don't want to change it all over, so... Where if it's just easy to change, like if the gear doesn't dictate your class and it's the tree and all you have to do is change some skill points on a tree, that wouldn't be so bad. That could be kind of neat. And so let's look down here at these images, see what. For sorcerers, we've been trying out an enchantment system. This is how it works. The ball of lightning skills, unlike other classes, each sorcerer skill has 2 possible effects. Sorcerer skills can be placed into 2 locations in an active skill slot every other class has access to, and an enchantment slot. If you place the skill in the enchantment slot, you can no longer use it as an active skill, but your character instead gains a secondary bonus power. Oh! Well, that wasn't what I was quite thinking, but that's kind of neat, because that can make up a whole new... Yeah, that's cool. It's like you're like a whole new superhero. So, I kind of like the idea. Ball of lightning as an enchantment, you can gain the secondary effect of the skill placing an enchantment slot instead of the active. Okay. The power gain from enchantment is extremely significant, and you can currently make builds based around your enchantments, your active skills, or a mix of both. That's kind of fun, because that leads to more options. And more options is always good. Here's an example of the system using the meteor skill. Meteor allows you to call a fiery chunk of rock from the sky. If you choose a slot with an enchantment, you won't be able to control your meteors, but they will fall onto enemies periodically. The skill is still under development, may be different in the final game. So it's just specifically so in this case, instead of specifically figuring out where you want the meteor to go, when you put it into the other slot, you can use your main skill, and as you can see, the meteors just, you're raining meteors. So it's like rain of fire, except for with really huge rocks. That's kind of funny, but that's kind of neat because that's leading to more options and more ways of playing the game. Although I could see with some skills that might become like too overpowering, but we'll see. It all depends on how they balance things. We've been testing this class mechanic for a while now. The team's feedback has been really positive. The new system now empowers you to make some interesting choices to strategize around which skills you would like and what in a slot in enchantment. You won't be able to place one skill in both places. We are also exploring a druid specific class mechanic as well. We'll have more information on that to share in the future. So that's pretty neat.